is it going, YouTube? This is a video on... I don't usually start my vlogs this way, this is weird. My 6-month amputation journal, diary, Q&A, thingy-mabobby. I haven't quite decided what to call it yet. I haven't done like a sit-down vlog in ages, so it's like all really unusual to me. Basically, it's coming up to, as of recording this, it's coming up to my 6-month anniversary of having my legs amputated. I had them done on January the 11th, 2019. I had a double below the knee because of foot ulcers, pressure sores that I had on the soles of my feet for about 3 years. They caused me a hell of a lot of problems. They stopped my social life. My health went downhill in terms of I became anemic, which means I wasn't getting enough like iron or something, I'm not sure, but basically I had to take iron tablets for it. My mental health was suffering a lot. I had a lot of problems with college. My confidence was low. My body image and perception of myself was low. I just had a whole load of problems. And in January of 2018, I went into hospital. July of 2018, I went into hospital for 5 weeks with a cellulitis infection, which is like I think it's either a skin infection or a blood infection. I think it was, I'm not sure, but basically my ankle was red and swollen. All the way up to like just a little bit below my knee was swollen. And I had to stay on antibiotics and IV fluids and all sorts for 5 weeks, which was over my birthday. My 19th birthday. Luckily they let me out, but that was the point where I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I just can't cope. So that's when I started thinking about amputations. I didn't make the actual decision to go, yes, this is what I want, until November. I had a hospital stay in November for the same reason, cellulitis. And that was when I was like, right, not again. I'm not doing this one more time at all. So in November, I had about 2 weeks in hospital. I was umming and ahhing about decision. By the end of the 2 weeks, I was like, right, I need this. I want this. I need my life back. So I made that decision. I think it was like the last day of that stay, my surgeon came up to me and was like, right, here's the dates I have. Which one do you want? You could either stay in over Christmas and I'll get it done, or you can go home, have Christmas and New Year. I'll bring you back in on the 11th of January. So yes, I had to wait like a month extra than what I'd have wanted, because I wanted it done as soon as possible. But at least I got to spend Christmas and New Year at home, which was nice. And then I ended up going into hospital on the 10th of January. I got settled in and they gave me the shortest bed ever, which I just found hilarious. It was like, you don't need this extra leg room, you can have the short bed. It was very funny. And then on the 11th, I can't remember what time it was. I think it was like midday-ish. I think, I'm not sure. I can't remember. That I had my surgery done. I was, after the surgery, whole range of emotions hit me. I was immediately when I woke up, because it was such a big operation and my body was like, whoa, what's going on? I threw up. I was not very well for the first hour or two after I woke up. It was more about the physical than the mental. So I was in recovery for quite a while before, I think longer than what I usually have been in the past. I was in recovery for a lot longer. Just to make sure you know I was alright, because my heart rate was going all over the place, because I was having panic attacks left, right, centre about the fact that I was throwing up and I was confused and it wasn't nice. But I had a face that I was familiar with next to me, one of the nurses, because it's the same hospital, all these hospital stays that I've had, same hospital, same nurses, so I got to know these people, which made this amputation a bit easier. And then I got sent up to the ward. My family was all waiting for me. then that was when the emotions hit me. I was like, well, shit, I've lost my legs. So at first it was a bit of a, even though I made the choice, it was a bit of a, well, got to refigure out everything. That was difficult. Then there was also seeing how my family dealt with it was heartbreaking in a way, because I couldn't help them, because I was obviously still dealing with it myself. I couldn't help them be like, look, it's gonna be okay. I'm fine. This is what I wanted. We'll get through it, and we did. We're fine now. Or at least I think we are. I think we're all fine. They kept me in hospital usually for amputations, they keep them in for about 4 or 5 days and then send them home. For me, I had a bit of trouble with learning how to do transfers from chairs to beds and chairs to bathrooms and all sorts. So they kept me in for about 2 weeks because the physio side of things I was like really struggling with. Also, on my right leg, I ended up getting a hematoma, which is a blood clot. Because the right leg's always been slow at healing anyway. I ended up getting a blood clot. So I had to stay a little bit longer while they just kept an eye on it. I went back for revision surgery for that in March, where they closed it up, and luckily it's fine now, and touch wood, it stays fine. So yeah, that's how I lost my legs. That's the ins and outs of it. The next question is, was it an easy decision? Like I said, I was umming and ahhing about it for a while. I think overall, to a certain point, it was an easy decision because I was done dealing with all the negatives that my legs brought me. Yes, it was difficult because I was grieving for a part that I'd had all my life. Even though I'd never used them and they weren't much use to me anyway, I'd still grieved because they were there and I was seeing them every day and I'd have to relearn to do everything. I don't know if it was an easy or a hard decision. I think it was kind of in the middle. What has been the weirdest thing to get used to? There's been several. I'm not quite sure what the weirdest thing to get used to is. One of the weirdest is the feeling of the fact that the way that I describe it to people is, imagine you are sitting on a very high wall with your feet not touching the ground. That's one of the feelings I've had to get used to, is my feet not planting anywhere. But on saying that, phantom feeling is a weird thing. Not pain, feeling. Phantom pain is different to phantom feeling. Phantom pain is you get, like, the way that I understand it, because I've never experienced it, the way that I describe it is, or I think that it is that if you have an itch on your foot or something, you go to itch it and it's like, well, it's not there. Where is the itch? Or like a pain rather than an itch, but like, I hope you get what I mean. Again, I've never experienced that because I had no feeling below my knee anyway to begin with, and they did the amputation below the knee, so I couldn't feel any. I had no pain, thank God, throughout the whole thing. So, but the feeling, I was able to sense when my feet were touching the floor before my amputations. I was able to sense when my feet were touching something. For a while, my phantom feeling, and it still to this day messes my head up. Not as much now though. To this day, my phantom feeling, like if I'm on my bed when I was at the hospital, and somebody sat at the bottom of my bed, I would like flinch because I'd be like, no, you're gonna sit on my feet, and then I'd realise they're not there. So that was one weird thing. Another weird thing to get used to was the fact that I couldn't wear skirts anymore. It sounds ridiculous, but it's like the small things that you don't realise that you're missing until they're gone. I used to wear skirts all the time. That's all I'd ever wear. I was never able to wear trousers. Well, now that I've had my amputations done, all I ever wear is trousers. Made me, I don't know if this is the right wording for it, but I hope you get what I mean. It's made me feel more able-bodied than ever. Like before my problems with my feet, I'd go about my day and I'd forget that I was in a wheelchair, and I'd go do something and I'd be like, oh no, wait, can't do that. So like, I haven't got an example, but like all throughout school and stuff, I'd forget I was in a wheelchair and I just feel like everybody else. Then I had the problems, and I felt really restricted, really disabled, like my disability was weighing me down. But now I've had the amputations, I feel like I've got that feeling back of being able-bodied, and it's weird, but in a good sense. Does it still hurt? No, because I didn't have any pain to begin with. Emotionally, I know the question was about physical, but emotionally, every now and again I'll be like, well, shit, that's a thing that happened. But it doesn't really affect me that much now. I'm kind of just focusing on the future and looking forward to what I can now achieve. I'm looking at eventually getting back to sports, swimming. My social life has improved, so I'm looking at maybe going more gigs and just so many more things. It's kind of like opened up a million pathways for me, so that's just brilliant. What do you call them? And by them, they mean the bits at the ends of my legs. Do I call them stumps? Do I call them legs? Do I call them little feetsies? Literally, somebody has said, do you call them little feetsies? I did call them little feetsies for a while. I kind of depends who I'm talking to. My family, I'll joke around and call them my little feetsies, or I do call them my legs, because they are technically still my legs. I don't call them my feet, because they are not my feet. They are my legs. I kind of shy away from calling them stumps, because that just makes me, I don't know why, but the word, it just doesn't sound like me. It makes me sound like I'm talking about somebody completely different. It's a weird feeling. So I try and avoid calling them stumps. I try and just call them my legs or the end of my legs. But if I'm around medical professionals, I'll call them stumps because that's how they refer them to. It just depends on the situation, really. But mostly I do tend to call them legs. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and if you ever meet me and talk about my amputations, I'd appreciate if you called them legs as well, because it makes me feel more normal, more me. It's kind of like using somebody's pronouns. It's just a language that suits me and doesn't feel alien. So I'd just appreciate it if people just call them legs. Even though your legs caused you more problems and pain, do you still miss them? Yes and no. Yes, I miss doing what I was able to do and the fact that I'm having to build that up again. But no, I don't miss them because of the problems and stuff that they caused me. I like to deny it, but I'm still going through the grieving process, I guess. I'm getting there. I am getting there. I'm coping so much better than I was 2 or 3 months ago. I have my down days. I have my good days. I have my bad days. I took some advice recently from somebody I really look up to, who is called Alexander Vlahos, who I really look up to. Focus on the good days so that the bad days don't seem so bad, because the bad days aren't going to last forever. And it's true, they don't.
Speedy Wheelz! How lovely to see you on here. I'm sure it has its ups and downs, but you went through it's quite a drastic, life-altering surgery operation. So I'm sure it goes up and down. But the best thing to do, and this is what gets me through my dark days, is to remember, and it doesn't have to be like, to force yourself, but to remember the good days and not dwell on the bad. And I know that's easier said than done, but if you are having a bad day, remember the time when you had a good day, whether that be the day before or a week before or whatever, and be like, oh, it's not always like this. It's not always sad. Because then you're giving yourself a little bit of hope. Because hope, only you can have hope for yourself. No one can come up to you and be like, come on, cheer yourself up or whatever. It has to come from inside you. You're the only person that can make yourself feel better, really. I mean, other people can try, but it has to come from an inner place. Virtual hug, straight back to you. This is me. There you go. Just if you put your phone next to your ear like that, there we go. That's the hug. That's the virtual hug. There you go. And do some more cover songs on your ukulele. I love the one that you did at Bright World. So, was it Tough Drug? Yeah, do another one. Yeah.
They come, they go. I have a good day. And then I might have a bad day. but then I'll have something else to look forward to. So like at the moment I'm going through a bit of a rough patch, completely unrelated to my amputations. I'm going through a rough patch. I won't go into it, but I am focusing on, hey, if I get through all this bad stuff, which it will only last like a temporary amount of time, if I get through all this bad stuff, which I will, I have a Comic-Con to look forward to, Comic-Con Manchester, where I am going to meet, and I have booked everything, I'm going to meet Brian Deckard and Amelia Rose Blair from one of my favourite PS4 games called Detroit Become Human. I am so excited. I've booked my tickets, I have booked my photo op, so I'm going to get professional photo done, which means legs and all showing probably. In photos before, I never used to show my legs. I used to hate it. I'd always be like, right, get my waist up only. Now I'm fine with like full body photos. So like, that's going to be an experience and a half. I can't wait. I am so excited. But I'm focusing on that to get myself through the bad days. And I suggest it's something that people try. Will your prosthetics change your official height? I haven't actually measured myself standing on my prosthetics yet, because I haven't fully gotten to a stand. But when I'm able to stand, even just using bars or crutches or whatever, I'm going to get somebody to measure me, because that'd be interesting. The height that I'm working with at the moment works for me, so I presume it's kind of similar to the height that I was at before. I was 5 foot. So yeah, I don't quite know the answer to that question just yet, but it feels like it's the same as my official height. That's also another question is when somebody asks your height, what do you say? Again, it's something that I haven't quite thought about yet. I haven't figured out an answer to. Before my amputations, I was 5 foot. I think after my amputations, I'm like 4'11" or something. I've lost quite a bit of height from my legs. Sometimes I think a lot of the time I just say 5 foot. But a lot of some of the time I will like answer with, oh well, before I had my legs amputated, I was 5 foot, so I go by that. And like when you have to fill in the forms that say what's your height, I think I just always put 5 foot, just because it's easier to explain to somebody than just saying, oh well, I'm technically 4'11", but it's just so much easier. Plus it's funny to watch them go, wait, what, 5 foot? No. It's really funny. Do you prefer to have your prosthetics on or not? I've only just got both of my prosthetics, so I'm kind of getting used to having them on a few hours a day. So I'm not going to wear them constantly at the moment, but when I found like transferring from chair to bed, from chair to other surface so much easier with prosthetics on. So when I'm able to wear my prosthetics constantly and I get my foot plates for my chair sorted, I'm going to wear them in my chair probably constantly, just because, like I said, it makes me feel able-bodied in a sense. It makes me feel like I've got my legs back, my actual legs. So it's kind of just like a sense of relief. I'm sure the novelty will wear off and I'll be fine just going without them, but like, I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet. That'll be something that I figure out. 6 months is quite early for recovery, but I still thought I'd do a video on it just because. The last question I have, it was only a short list, is where do I hope to be in 5 years' time in terms of my recovery? God knows, because in the last 6 months I've made more progress than I thought I ever would. Like, it's amazed me how much progress I've made. Not to, float my own boat. I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but not to boast or anything, but I have made more progress than what I thought I would make. And I'm actually super proud of myself for that. So who knows where I'll be in 5 years' time. I've learnt with this not to expect anything of myself. Because if I expect something of myself and then it doesn't turn out the way that I hoped it would, I get really down. So who knows what abilities I have and don't have now that I've had my legs amputated. Who knows where I'll be in a week's time, never mind 5 years. The aim at the moment, and it sounds a bit ridiculous, but it's something to just aim towards. So my first goal was to transfer from bed to chair, from chair to whatever, with prosthetics on. I've done that. The next goal is being able to stand unaided for like 0.2 seconds to take a photo with like people I meet at conventions and stuff like that, because conventions is such a big part of my life. It would just feel like such a sense of achievement if I was able to be like, hey, I went through this thing and here's where I am, here's where I am now, and I can stand for this photo. And I can look back on that photo and be like, yeah, I did that thing. That's the next goal, but I don't have a time limit on it. Even if I don't do that, I'm not expecting that I'm going to be able to do that, because it's a big step, quite literally. I'm just trying not to set any expectations. Anyway, there's my 6-month update. I'll do another one in 6 months when it's my year anniversary and see what's changed. I think I'll do one when I get to the 1 year one. I'll do one every year for as long as I'm doing YouTube. Anyway guys, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below to become a Lollipop today, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.